Hello and welcome to Illiterate-ly. My name is Gina.
My name is Belle.
And welcome back to part 2 of our bonus chapters,
Yeah.
which is about book tastes.
For today.
Today it's about book tastes. And we're so excited to give you more information about what we like and what we're thinking about, what we feel about books in general.
Yeah.
Just some more information so you can see what you can expect maybe a little bit in the podcast and where we're coming from.
Yeah. Maybe get a better understanding of what we like to see if maybe you'll take some of our recommendations.
Yes. And also whose side you're going to be on when we argue about the books inevitably every Friday. Because me and Belle do not feel the same about books.
We really don't.
Yeah. It's always interesting. Let's get to it.
Part 2.
Part 2.
What are your bad book habits?
I already mentioned one of mine, which is not finishing the last in a series because I don't want the series to be over.
Mine is if I feel like the story's slowing down, I will go pages ahead, only looking at the dialogue to figure out what's going to happen, and then not want to go back.
That hurts me. I can't.
I currently did that to myself last week, and so I still got the book. I might finish it this week, might not. I don't know. I kind of know what's gonna happen now, and now I'm like, meh. I feel closure. You know?
I think one of my bad book habits is like I'm just really bad with setting. When I'm writing, I'm not bad with it. When I'm like reading, I'm really bad about like continually keeping a setting in my head. And so I'm just lost at all points in time.
Yeah.
And so I'll be like, that didn't happen, huh? That didn't happen where that happened. And then I'll go back and be like, oh shit. It did. It really did. I do be not remembering stuff.
I feel like I have another habit of like wanting to read. I don't even know if it's a habit, but like I will screenshot anything with an inkling of interest. I really will. And then I'll be like, yes, I will read this. And then I go to like read the synopsis again and I'm like, do I really wanna? I don't know. And then I just go back to like 3 series that I like.
I feel like I overwhelm myself a lot of the times when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do like I'm a terrible TBR setter where I like set a bunch of TBRs and then I'm like, I don't want to do any of that, and then I just fuck off and do something else that's like not remotely in the space that it needs to be in.
Yeah.
I'm really bad about that.
I'm bad about physical books.
You don't read a lot of physical books.
Not since I got Kindle Unlimited. I've read maybe 1, maybe 2.
That's so interesting to me. I like flip through.
Yeah.
Every kind.
I don't know. I think it's because I know I can see how thick it is. And like even when it's online and I can know the page number, I can still be like, oh, I can do this. I can read this.
I have a really bad habit when I'm reading on my Kindle and it says like 40 minutes left in this book and I check the time and then I try to beat that. It's like when you try to beat your GPS home. Is it possible?
All the time.
Not really, dude. Like it's inaccurate. Like there's a computer calculating. Like you're not gonna beat it. And I'm like, yes, I am. I'm gonna beat it.
I'm so bad. I'm such a slow reader.
I have to be a fast reader.
I know, but I get distracted and then I have to have a very specific environment too. I don't know if that's a bad habit, but I have to be like today I was reading and like my mom was around and it was just hard to read because she would make a noise or do something and I'd get distracted. Today there was a possum outside.
Oof.
We started feeding it.
Oh, good God.
And so like I laid on the floor and it was like outside the patio window and I was like, hey. And then I went to go back to reading and mom's like, there's an eagle. And so then we went and looked at the eagle hanging out on the frozen water. And then the geese came up. The geese and the swans during winter will hang out for like necessity. And they started to like get close to the eagle. Eagle wasn't having it and was like, ugh, drama, and left. So, like,
You had an eventful day.
It was all at the same time too.
I used to be a lot better at like ignoring. I could read anywhere, and then I had kids, and now it's a lot harder for me to like ignore what's going on.
Yeah,
because I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Also, Evie likes to get up in the chair with me and go, "What you reading, Mama?" And half the time I have to be like, "You don't want to know. You don't want to know." Or she likes to go, "I will read with you," and then she puts her book on top of my book. I'm like, "Bro, I don't think you know what 'with' means."
It's a parallel play, not a together play.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not how this works.
Who is your favorite female main character?
Like a specific person, or like a this is a type.
A specific person, if you can. And mine's gonna be really basic.
Okay, hit me with it.
Mine's Violet Sorrengail from Fourth Wing.
Okay.
But specifically because she has a chronic illness, and I have a chronic illness, and I love that it's represented, and they like it doesn't just go away. It's very present. I have to say I like pieces of a lot of female main characters, but she also it's like consistently she starts out as a 20-year-old kid and feels like a 20-year-old fucking kid to me, and feels like a 20-year-old kid who's doing really hard stuff, and I like that. I like that she's written that way. There are definitely problematic things within the Fourth Wing books. I don't think it's the most beautifully written book. I do really enjoy them, and I think Violet Sorrengail specifically is written incredibly well for what she has to deal with and things that she does.
So I'm gonna go with a female character within a series of standalones. But it's all the female characters in that standalone.
Okay.
So I loved all the female main characters in the Night World series.
Oh, okay. In the Night World by
L.J. Smith.
L.J. Smith.
Yeah. Like I loved all of them.
I fully agree with that. I would say that's a pretty solid. Yeah.
Because I was thinking about one and I was like, well, there was this one and that one. And like whenever you were in the main female character's point of view, I just loved them all.
That is like kind of what keeps you going back for the books. They're very, very short books.
Yeah.
Very quick reads.
The books that I have of the Night World is like 3 books in a book.
Yeah.
Like 3 stories in a book. And they're like thicker books, but I'd rather have one thicker book than 3 thin books, honestly.
Yeah, I have special editions, so the spines are fancy.
I love that.
I have huge bookshelves. I have to have fancy editions of something. Period. I have to say, the main character in Iron Widow, whose name I can't remember because I never remember character names, also very big fan. She's kind of a petty ass bitch, but I love that for her, and the world she grew up in makes sense. Love that for her. Kind of love that she never saw that energy but found that energy. And to me feels like a very like that feels like one of the most badass things to do. Like when you grow up in a world, because like she grows up in a world where women are subservient and like women are literally giving their lives to like power these mechs that men like control, so that like, and they're using them like batteries essentially and like killing these women.
Oh.
And she said, "Fuck you, I'm not gonna do that." Period. And like because is like strong enough to like essentially stop that. She just becomes. She's like, and then she does some petty shit. I love
How do you pick what you will read next?
vibes.
I do vibes of the book and my vibes.
Mood reading is definitely a big thing, but I think I also have to go, like, I have goals that I gotta hit, so I always keep that in mind. I also make TBRs just to make the list smaller.
What does that mean?
So I like pick a smaller list of books
Mm-hmm.
at like the beginning of the month, and then I mood read off of that list
Oh,
instead
okay.
of like just doing it from my whole collection of almost 1,000 books,
Mm-hmm.
because that's no,
No, I get that.
I won't do that. I don't usually finish TBRs, but I do like making them.
I just have one gigantic TBR.
You also just have like a bunch of screenshots of your phone,
Yep.
and that's your TBR.
That's my TBR.
Most of mine are just physical, actual books.
Yeah.
And then what I read on my Kindle or audiobook is usually just based on like vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And I like read off on those based on like what I'm doing that week, based on my schedule.
I base it on what I'm needing from a book. That's my
Interesting.
vibes. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. I don't. I look at the cover. I don't read the synopsis.
That's crazy. I
Sometimes I hold a book and I think, yes.
most of the time for like personal books, not like outside of the podcast, I'll read the synopsis, or I'll like, especially from Instagram, get the like little snippets and like read those. But I really won't look at the page cover.
Mm-hmm.
Like it'll show it because it'll go to the little
Mm-hmm.
Amazon link, but like that's not a big factor for digital books for me.
Yeah, no. I just jump in, just dive in. But you also don't DNF, and I do.
Yeah, no.
So I'm like, nope, don't like, bye.
I will eventually come back to it.
Nope, I will do not finish. Bye bye.
What types of books do you wish you read more of?
Mine's mystery thrillers,
Okay.
which I have on my shelves, and I'm trying to read more of them. Like that's one of the goals that I have. So I always try to make sure that like, if I'm like not really feeling anything, I'm like, okay, then I'm gonna read the thing that's like gonna meet a goal.
Mm-hmm. I want to read more. I don't know.
I just really like true crime, so I feel like I'd like mystery thriller. Like that feels like
Yeah.
something I should like. I know that like I won't like domestic thrillers where it's like husband and wife or whatever, but I feel like actual mystery thriller crime content I would very much like. And cozy mystery, I already know I kind of like because I've read like cozy fantasy mystery and I've really liked it. So I've like dabbled enough in that as a subgenre that I really just want to dive fully in as a full genre. And I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. There's no like, I'm pretty niche on what I like.
Yeah.
Like I know pretty much the facets of books that I like. I don't know if I'm in a space to branch out right now. You know?
Yeah.
There's at this point in time, there's nothing I would want.
Do you
to
want
read
more
of.
physical books?
The book goblin in me says yes.
But not actually, because it doesn't necessarily mean like a genre or anything like that. Is there like an author you want to explore more? Is there like a medium you want to explore more, like that kind of thing?
I've been thinking about audiobooks.
The way you talk about audiobooks, I'm scared for you to start reading audiobooks because I feel like you're just gonna be mean to me about the fact that you don't like audiobooks.
Well, like, it's because I have a hard time finding time to sit down and read.
Yeah.
And so like I'll listen to like random videos on YouTube a lot. And so if I can maybe supplement that with audiobooks, but there's no visual component.
I don't understand why you don't immersive read, which is where you audiobook listen and read along.
Oh, that sounds horrifying.
Why?
Because I have slight audio processing difficulties. Like sometimes.
Yeah, but then read that.
But then I get distracted while reading.
If you read along with it's like somebody reading the book to you.
But like, so this is my undiagnosed ADHD. I will be reading a book. In my head, the little voice in my head is reading the words, and then I'm having a whole different idea in my head about something else.
Okay.
And so like, if my brain is trying to catch up with what I'm hearing and reading at the same time, I don't think I can get that. I think it would my brain would explode.
Then don't read audiobooks.
But they would be convenient.
Okay, but if you can't read audiobooks, then you can't read audiobooks.
But that's why I was like, maybe I'll dabble.
You can try it, but this is what I'm saying is I will suggest something and you act like I just suggested that you eat a dead man.
It's something that's like hard for me, you know?
Yeah, that's okay.
No. It is. It is what it is.
What is a popular author you will never pick up or do not like?
I'm not as into book culture as I feel like you are.
I feel like that's not true. I feel like everybody on this channel should know that I have a violent hatred for Olivia Blake's writing. And I will never ever pick up another book from her. I gave her 2 chances and she fucked it up both times. And I hate her books. They're terrible, awful, terrible, awful, horrid. I read The Atlas 6 and I read fucking Masters of Death and I hated both of them. And I got halfway through them and I read the rest of them. I fucking hate Olivia Blake's writing. Not her as a person, because the people are not their books.
Mm-hmm.
Hate her books. Will never ever read another Olivia Blake. And I will tell everybody that I know to not read her. Because I hate her books. I feel like I'm trying to think of a popular author I will never read. I'll probably never read like fantasy classics. Like I'll never read like a Robert Jordan. Like I ain't put myself through Wheel of Time. I'm never doing that. A 14 book series, not doing it. Other than that, I'm pretty much open to anything. You ever gonna read? Did you read Quicksilver?
No.
Will you ever read Quicksilver?
I don't know. Is it a standalone?
No.
Nah.
700 pages.
That's rough. There are multiple books that it's like 400, even high 300s, and I'm like,
That's Callie Hart. That might be something you won't read.
I figured out one. Colleen Hoover.
Oh, fuck that bitch.
I don't like her books.
I read one book, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" I read Verity, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is the best mystery book I've ever read in my whole life." I was like, I finished 20 pages in. I figured out what the fuck was gonna happen. 20 pages in, and then it was just badly written for the rest of the 20 pages.
It doesn't give me anything.
Like, it's so bad.
I read one. Unfortunate. But.
And then there's that whole, she came out with the movie, It Ends With Us movie, and then Blake Lively and Jason Baldoni situation.
I would love it.
All that tea that's going on there.
Ugh, I'm watching so many videos about it.
I am too.
I love it so much.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. No. So I'm excited.
But I do like to hear people talk about it.
I'm excited to see the more like law point of view of it. Because when the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing was going on, there was a lot of like law tube. I think that's what they're called. They like.
I hate that. I hate that trend where it's like, just put tube at the end and then it'll be a thing. No, the fuck it's not. Shut up.
Well, it was really interesting to see the like logistic side of things.
Yeah.
And then I really like the behavioral panel. And so like they like teamed up with a lot of law people, and so they would like talk about all the different things, like the legal side, the behavioral side, and it was really cool. So I
I'm
hope they do
intrigued.
that again.
I'm intrigued.
Who are your favorite authors?
Favorite author. My very favorite author is Sylvia Moreno Garcia.
I
Bitch can't miss. She writes in a different genre every time she writes a book with it, which is
wild.
absolutely insane. That is the most insane thing ever. And I love her, and she hits it out of the park every time.
I want to say L.J. Smith, because even the one book I didn't like. The book, it's like the Secret Society, or
The
like
Secret Circle?
the Secret Circle.
That turned into a TV show, and they canceled it way too early, and I loved the TV show of that.
I hated the Secret Circle. I did not like that. But there was another one. There was another series that was more psychic power.
I don't know.
No, it's like I have the book at home. Insert here. But just the way she writes is so entertaining.
True.
It's easy flow. I feel like a lot of the one thing I don't like about like authors is when they make a decision for the plot that I don't like.
That's the point.
I don't like it. And so like I feel like LJ Smith, I really like her because she has that flow. She has that like logical decision making skills in everything,
Mhm.
because it gives it a little more realistic vibe to me, and I like that.
Yes, you always want that in your witch novels.
I do. I do.
Follow up. If they were to write in a new genre, would you read it? What new genres would you read?
Another one of mine is Allie Carter, who wrote the Gallagher Girl series, and she also wrote Heist Society, which is like a criminal like heist. I
Yeah.
loved that. I would write anything. I would read anything she writes, and obviously, I would write like
Yeah.
Sylvia Moreno Garcia always writes in a new genre,
Yeah.
and I'll read anything she writes.
Another author would be Alana Khan. She did is she the one? She did an orc book.
It's always an orc book.
It's always.
Would you read something else? Like if L.J. Smith wrote in a different genre than YA fantasy, would you read it? Like if she did an adult debut, which is really common for YA authors right now.
If LJ Smith did something that wasn't, I don't know if I could see her doing something that wasn't paranormal, because all like even like the psychic series was like,
I know, but some of the most recent like adult debuts have been like fully out of left field for like normal YA.
I'd still read it.
She comes out with a cowboy romance.
Yeah.
You're adding to cart.
Yeah.
Pre-ordering
Instantly.
that.
Honestly, if it was her, yes. But Alana Khan, she's the one that did Embers of Healing.
Oh, I read that too.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right, yeah.
She has a really good way of making things cozy, and it still had that realistic vibe and like explaining feelings.
She could definitely translate, I think, to a lot of different genres as well.
Yeah.
What books do you recommend to people the most?
That's hard for me because I recommend a lot of books to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I recommend Legends and Lattes a lot because I feel like that's a fairly. I feel like a lot of people that are asking me currently for like recommendations don't read a lot of fantasy, and they're like trying to get into fantasy, and I feel like Legends and Lattes is a really good way to get into the fantasy by Travis Baldree. That's a really good way to like very good way to dip your toes in.
Depending on level of spice, Katie Robert.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I like a lot of what she does. So I recommend her just to kind of dabble in more of the like spice part of worlds. Cuz like if you have like if you like mythology, she has mythology. If you like more like heavy like BDSM kind of thing, she does have that. I think that's her. I believe so. Um she has a spin-off of like old school princesses from like
Interesting.
Disney. And so like those are really cool. Um and she has a wider array than you would expect.
I don't like Katie Roberts, so that's
No.
interesting to me. Yeah.
Oh no.
I think it's just a personal thing. I don't really like her
Yeah.
writing, but it's just me.
I feel like her writing's a little simple.
I think I understand why a lot of people are writing.
Yeah.
It's just like a personal thing
Yeah.
I don't like. But yeah, I
Mhm.
get why people like it. I just just last night recommended the Lady Janie series by
Oh yeah.
Cynthia Nahan, Brody Ashton, and Jodie Meadows. And it's a full series that like recounts in a hilarious way, like either historical events or like there's one called My Plain Jane, which is my favorite, and it's a retelling of Jane Eyre. And it's so funny and it's so good and it's very tongue in cheek. And I love it. And those are all YA, but I just recommended that to one of our friends who's a history teacher. So
I have a series I recommend to people because they're standalones. So they have like lots of different tropes.
they're interconnected standalones.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's the same like world but different tropes that you might like. It's the Monsters Loves Curvy Girls. So it's mainly like all plus size women.
You recommended that to me, yeah.
Yes, with monsters that look like the devil.
I love it. Oh, the Sombra Demon series. I recommend that a ton by Sarah Spade. If it's like if you're trying to get into spice, and
Mhm.
that one's a really good one if you're thinking monster romance. Oh, that's all our questions.
Yeah.
Deal. So now you know a little more about us and what we like to read. So if you're interested in us and the books we read and the things we talk about, then subscribe to our channel. Come hang out with us every Friday at 5, and you'll get little bonus videos like this where you learn more about us and also about other books. And we'd love to see you and talk to us in the comments. Please let us know maybe what your favorite book is or what book you would recommend to us based on what we just told you. We'd love to know more.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you soon.